Hey, my name is Emily Merrell. I'm a taco-loving people connector, and I'm obsessed with playing the name game and all things networking. I'm the founder of Second Degree Society, a female-focused networking community, as well as a business coach for female business owners passionate about bringing their business to the next level with the help of events, community, and connections. I crave deep conversations and am continuously curious to see what makes people tick, and am invested in uncovering their stories with some life lessons along the way. This podcast is aimed to inspire and educate as you tackle your busy day. So join the conversation and tune in for the Second Degree podcast. Back to the Second Degree podcast. I'm so excited, y'all, to have Melissa Nichols on today's show. She is just this incredible New York based Pilates and health and wellness coach. And I just want to talk about all of the things that you do, Melissa. I know you are really, really busy building your business at the moment. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how long, first and foremost, this is us drinking coffee in person type of scenario, which I love. So it's real talk with both of us. So how long have you been building your business, and what inspired you to start a company?
Yeah. So I've been working my entire career in pharmaceuticals. I worked on clinical trials. And so at the end of 2023, I decided it was time for a change. And so I left. I had at the time been working on a certification in Pilates. So by the time I left, I was certified and then started building my Pilates practice in New York. And then during 2024, I was getting my certifications in coaching and passed my boards um, around the end of 2024. And so now I'm building the coaching practice as I have the Pilates business kind of up and running. So it's right now feels like two separate entities, but in reality, the goal is to integrate them because it's all part of your health, essentially. So yeah, so it's exciting and challenging all at the same time.
And also, what a big departure from clinical trials. The fact that you were working in this very scientific clinical place to being your own boss. Like, how has that shift been for you personally?
It's been crazy. Like I connect with old colleagues periodically and they ask like, do you miss it? The money, absolutely. But the
Mhm.
stress and the hours and the pressure, not so much. I do still have that like mindset, that research mindset, which I'm just trying to take all of the areas that I really loved and just transition them to doing something else. So the goal when I worked in pharma was let's research and create drugs for diseases. My goal now is let's research to prevent diseases. So I do
Mm.
a lot of researching and I create a lot of blogs. I create a lot of material that I add to my website for purposes of people not having to do this really tedious legwork, but to be able to get the information that I think everyone should have, to
Yeah. I love that you're able to take that application, the same application that you had for your corporate job, to this new chapter of your life. And in the coaching element, so I know Pilates was your gateway into entrepreneurship, and then coaching is another layer that you added on. What is it that you're serving, or who is it that you're serving with coaching? And why did you want to build a coaching arm in your business?
Yeah, so health has always been important to me. So when I left pharma, I was kind of thinking to myself, what is something that it wouldn't feel like I was working? Something I would do even if I wasn't making money, just because I enjoy it, I think it's important. And so that's sort of how I came about coaching and Pilates because I'd worked myself with a lot of functional medicine doctors through the years, mostly to um for prevention purposes and just how to stay healthy. So it's just taking all of my years of experience to be healthy myself and applying that for others to learn from.
And I love that you say about prevention. I think in our culture, we're very much a band-aid effect on things.
Yep.
Like you, right? Especially you were working in that industry providing the band-aids.
Yep.
So the
Which there's a
pill,
need
like we want,
for. There's a need for,
yes,
I'm not saying that that drugs aren't important. They are. I mean, we're living
mhm,
longer than we ever have. But
totally.
but there's a time and a place for a drug. And if there's something you can do to just be healthy, for as long as you possibly can, I think that's important. And you should know how to do that.
Yeah. And I feel like I have this belief that everyone should be given, um, they should be given like a health coach, or they should be given someone to help shepherd them through their health journey, especially as their body evolves and ages, and you go through puberty, then you go through perimenopause or menopause, or you go through carrying a child and then postpartum, and you have chunks of hair falling out in the shower. Not that I know anyone who has that. I mean, myself. Um, so I'm curious, like, are there any particular areas of passion that you have when it comes to your health journey, or any like wake up moments in your life that I always think you want to kind of stand on a street corner with a megaphone and shout about? Do you have any of those inner regions?
Uh, I wouldn't say I mentioned those interviews, but no, I think through my journey in pharma, I've worked in a lot of different indications. And the last indication I worked in was endocrinology. And that's where I
Mm,
really kind of learned how important your hormones were. I don't think it's ever something that is emphasized the way it should be emphasized. I think it's definitely an unmet need for women, which is why I specialize in hormone health. But, when you think about it, a large number of people died from cardiovascular disease. But you don't really die from diabetes, but diabetes is highly linked to cardiovascular disease. And diabetes, then you just keep following that line back to the root cause and, sugar levels and then hormones. And so hormones really play a huge role in the starting point of where disease starts. And so, if you just have a better understanding of that and how to manage that, like stress is a huge one. Stress is it plays a huge impact on our bodies. But what do we do for stress? You know, we what
you
what
drink wine.
we can do, but it's just not it's not even viewed, I don't think, as an epidemic of like we are too stressed, but we're too stressed as a society. Everything is go, go, go. Get things done quicker, faster. So we need to slow down and just kind of take care of ourselves.
Preach. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I love that you said the word endocrine. Because I always think of, I don't know enough about it. So I would love to dive a little bit deeper into hormones and hormone health and some things that women could start applying now. But I always think about endocrine disruptors. And so what I know, Melissa, and you are more of an expert on this than I am. So my husband, for example, the other day, he bought new trash bags. He bought the ones with Febreze. And every time I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is an endocrine disruptor. Like, I'm touching it. That's a disruptor. So can you explain, like, how is it disrupting? What does that mean when we say like an endocrine disruptor?
Yeah, so it's impacting your hormones in some way. So plastics are a big one. So like one of the first things that I tell my clients when you want to kind of clean up your home is really just remove plastics. Like microplastics are huge. Just drinking from a plastic water bottle. And they've done studies where they've looked and said, wow, most Americans they have microplastics because we grew up with it. We've had plastics since we were babies. And so,
Yeah.
just removing your plastic containers, removing plastic water bottles, always carry a metal water bottle with you. Um, so that you
It's
really,
metal.
is
It's
it?
metal. Okay. I was just double checking my water bottle, y'all.
Yeah. So just doing little things like that. And even a lot of the chemicals in our cosmetics and things like that, um, can disrupt our hormones. So just trying to keep clean and just um, doing things that are healthy for us.
It's like a giant game of whack-a-mole, I think, in terms of keeping up with. removing these toxins and these disruptors from our life. I think it was an Instagram reel the other day that just made me chuckle, where this guy went to go bite into an apple, and they're like, "Oh, now the skin, it was sprayed with chemicals, remove the chemicals." And so then he like went to remove the skin and or like wash off the wax, and then he was washing it off with a paper towel, and he's like, "No, that paper towel was bleached." And like so on and so forth. And then he went to go like plant his own apple, and they're like, "No, that soil has no nutritional value." And so he's like, just at the end of it, he's just eating potato chips on the couch. He's like, "Screw it. I can't even." It's so hard to navigate. You always feel like you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
So which is
true.
right?
Yeah,
Right? Like there's every path you
absolutely.
turn down is like the end of the maze.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly want to eat healthy, you've got to cook at home.
Yes. And even beyond that, you have to like grow your own vegetables and live in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I mean, you can get organic, and so there are
Mhm.
ways to eat healthy, but, yeah, most of the grains that you get when you're out are enriched.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Which is even on Whole Foods, which is really startling. You would think that a place that promotes whole living, you would have more of like a whole three ingredients to it, not like 17 ingredients to their bread.
but they do have options for healthy food at Whole
Mhm.
Foods. So it's just you
Yeah.
really have to sit there and read the labels for I just did, a nutrition workshop. I just did 2, the past 2 months, and just in doing those workshops, I learned a ton. Just in things where I would go to the grocery store and just take pictures of the ingredient labels and be like, "Each one of these breads say, like, wheat." But not all of them. One is 100% enriched wheat flour. To find 100% whole grain is not easy. And so
No.
it's really kind of, it was eye opening to be able to just see how challenging it is. But you just have to know how to read the labels, know how the marketing works and what they're allowed to say and what it means. And so the 2 workshops I did were all about that, just to educate you on how to shop so you know what you're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so going back to preventative care too, it's you don't want to be working with you once you have a problem and you're trying to solve the problem. You want to come before you even have a problem that's presented. But most of us, most likely, I would guess, are living with some sort of hormone unbalance. And I know it's a big part of your work. What are some signs that someone could check in on themselves that they might potentially have a hormone imbalance? And then also, what are some things that people, besides cheating and trying to keep as clean as possible in this giant world of whack a mole, that we could start leveraging, we could start implementing tomorrow?
Yeah. So if you're of childbearing, then, it could be irregular periods, it could be fatigue, it could be hair loss, it could be your metabolism where you can't lose weight. Um, all of those signs, PMS. I mean, everything that we're all very familiar with. And then once you get in your older years where you're like over 40, then it's more of like perimenopause phase, which it can happen over a 10-year period where it's all of those symptoms kind of a little bit more like significant. So your periods could be all over the place where you never know when you're going to get it. It could be really heavy. It could be, night sweats, problem sleeping. I mean, just looking at your
Yeah.
face,
Check, check, check.
you
Well,
know,
yeah, I mean, after having a baby,
there are things you can do to try to manage that um, naturally. That you just really need to kind of. I think the hardest part is if you work a busy job and you're working long hours and you're not sleeping and you're doing a lot of very normal, I'll say normal because it is kind of what the norm is for many people. That is our society of work, 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 work. And if you don't take the time to kind of slow down, take a breath, sleep is super important. Um, then it gets really hard because that lifestyle. is going to be really challenging if you're perimenopausal and you're not sleeping at all. Even when you lay down, you're not sleeping, and um, you're having hot flashes in meetings, and you have brain fog and all these things. It almost seems it's so unfair,
Yeah.
but
Not fair. Men just get better with age. Women just get hotter, like temperature wise with age.
there are things, and you see on social media, and even Oprah had a special on menopause and how um there's treatments out there, there's bioidentical hormones, but it's not for everybody. And it could be maybe you have a contraindication, maybe you've had breast cancer, maybe there are people that can't be on bioidentical hormones. And then there are people that just don't want to, unless they absolutely have to. And they should have options, or they should know what those options are. And if you could manage it, through say acupuncture and eating right and different lifestyle changes, and you can do that and still manage a lot of the post-menopause symptoms that happen of osteoporosis, and your lipids go
Yeah.
out and all these things. And if you can manage that naturally, you should have the option to do so. It's not a one size fits all.
It's so all those things you just talked about, like osteoporosis, hot flashes, lipids going up. So much of that is not talked about, at least in my world yet, until you kind of have crossed that threshold. And Um, I think that's changing. I feel like people are becoming more vocal. They're being more outspoken about their experience with menopause. And as you said, like the more holistic ways to manage them versus like the hormone ways to manage them. But how do you even know if you're going through perimenopause or if you are just going insane and you think that the stress is giving your body these reactions for the night sweats or the hair loss and all of those things that you just mentioned before? Like, how do you even know that you have perimenopause?
So your doctor can measure your hormone levels. They don't
Okay.
always do that. I mean, they usually do at some point, but it's usually symptom. If you have symptoms, like if you
Mm.
had symptoms of weight gain and hair loss, they would probably test your thyroid. Um, but they would do that, I think, at any age. And I think thyroid tests are pretty standard now. Like they do them as regularly as they do like your cholesterol. So there are, every hormone does something different, and there are ways to test. And that's sort of I have a workshop coming up next month, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about is just what are the different ways of testing for the purposes of just being educated on what's available, what each test means, so that you can go in and have an educated conversation with your doctor and say, I'd like to try this before I go on a medication. Is that an option? And,
Mhm.
oftentimes if it is, if it's there's no reason that they wouldn't allow that to happen as long as insurance would pay for it. So,
Okay. Yeah. I feel like every other person I know has a thyroid problem, either overactive or they have Hashimoto's or these. I'm always nervous about my thyroid. I'm like, please check my thyroid. I'm like, you're fine. But, you hear everyone being misdiagnosed or then they get on the right medication and their whole entire life changes or outcome changes, right?
yeah, totally. Your thyroid is huge, like huge in the sense important, not big.
Yeah, it's not big.
Yeah, but
It's tiny, but it's big.
it's your metabolism. So, like, if you have a thyroid issue and you can't lose weight, you really can't lose weight until you get that fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. And so I'm curious for you, Melissa, looking back at your own health journey, what most surprised you about your own healing journey and moving from, again, finding drugs and coming up with drugs to creating more of this holistic lifestyle for yourself and business?
So I think probably that managing and balancing your hormones is possible through like
Mhm.
diet and lifestyle if you know how to do it. It's not, I mean, it takes discipline. And I think that's probably the most challenging part for people if you don't want to
Mhm.
put in the time to make the food and, do the work, then it can be challenging, but it is doable. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good to know. I mean, and I think that's good to know that you've also seen results of people who have been at the deep end of their problems and live a
yeah,
more managed lifestyle.
yeah, totally. You have to prioritize your health.
Your health. I love it. And so then, okay, I know you both have the Pilates and the health coaching. So at Reforming You, you're the name of your company, which I failed to mention earlier, but at Reforming You, what exciting projects or workshops or offerings do you have coming up? And how can people connect more with you?
Yep. So everything is on my website. So www.reformingyou.com. So I have a workshop coming up on October 15th on hormone health. It talks about what hormones you have, what they do, how to measure them, how to manage them. Talks about perimenopause and menopause, what they are, when they happen, what you need to do to prepare for them, what to plan for post menopause. Um, and just yeah, so and it'll I have a discounted rate to join before October 1st, if you join before October 1st, and then I ask a questionnaire when you join of what you're interested in learning about. So if I get that information from you early enough, I can, if it's not already in there, I can add it, and then the price goes up to $19 on October 1st, and then that'll be on the 15th. I also do weekly blog posts they're pretty detailed. So they're about hormones, they're about sleep, nutrition, planning for your doctor's visit. What are optimal lab results versus normal lab results? What range should you really want your labs to be within? And just like planning lots of files to just coaching may not be for everybody. If you want to do it yourself, I try to create different spreadsheets and things that help you to guide you so that you can do as much of it yourself as you want to. It's just information. You really need to just be your own advocate.
I love the idea of the resource of the questions to ask when you go to the doctors. I swear I always feel so prepared when I get there and then forget everything by the time I walk in. I'm like, I guess that's it. And yeah, it could be overwhelming. You just gave me a gentle reminder. I have a lab in for blood work, but I haven't actually gone to get the blood work. Like actually going to get the blood work is it's right here. Like it's so close to me. It's just so resistant. I'm so resistant to it. Like who wants to get blood taken in the middle of the day?
Yeah.
Not on the to but I want the results. So it's like catch 22. Um, okay. So before we head out, Melissa, I've got some fast questions for you to wrap things up. You ready?
Hmm.
Okay. First one, tell me an unknown fun fact about Melissa.
An unknown fun fact. Um, I love to go cycling. That is like one
Oh,
of my like activities outside of Pilates that I love to do. So yeah, I sometimes plan my travels around cycling. So I've done like a cycling trip through the vineyards of France, and I hope to do more things like that. But yeah, it's a great way to see the world for sure.
I so admire those people who go on trips. I have never felt that comfort on bikes, and I have so many friends that do, and it's awesome to see. Do you cycle in New York City too?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah. I
that's
try to
so cool.
stay off the streets. And they do have a bike path, but yeah, I used to belong to their cycling club, and then we'd do like trips into Connecticut or trips into like Jersey, and they'd be like all day of just riding, which was just a great way to see different areas.
Yeah, what a cool thing. That's a great unknown fun fact. Okay, who would be a dream person for you to meet or to coach, and to tell them about reforming you?
Uh, That's interesting. That's a good question. To connect with.
Any celebrities that you're like, "Ooh, I wish I could
No, I
just
would
chat with
say,
her."
like, I'd love to connect with some of the functional medicine doctors that I see on social media, and I've read their books, because they've devoted their lives to like the preventive side of medicine, and so to collaborate with them would be like amazing. Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah, that's a great one. Um, I'm curious because you talked about cooking food within your home versus like going out to dinner and whatnot. Do you have a favorite meal, go-to meal, especially when you are feeling busy and it's challenging to put something together?
Yeah. So my big thing is I try to eat every color of the rainbow every day. So
Great.
like a go-to is like a big colorful salad every day with some kind of protein. So my go-to is usually salmon, but I'll do salmon, I'll do tofu. But like I love eating like healthy foods like that just because it makes me feel really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then this is a very serious question, but what is your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji. Probably the smile emoji is what I use the most. Um, but
It's funny, this question, every time I I reflect back on it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I overuse the same emojis." Like, I really this question inspires me to kind of, like, go through the rainbow of emojis a bit more. Um, there's so many good ones out there that I didn't even know existed. So,
yeah.
that's your homework. And then my last question for you today, Melissa, is what advice do you wanna give our listeners to get today?
The advice would probably be that you really need to be your own advocate. The more you the more you understand about your body, the more you understand about health, um, the more effective you are in maintaining it. If you go to the doctor's office and you talk to them like you really understand, and look, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and this is what I want, and they're very receptive to that. The fact that they don't have a ton of time for each patient isn't that's just our culture. But they're really there to try to do as much as they can for you in a short period of time. So the more information you can give them, even if they
Mhm.
suggest that you do something, if you or take a medication or whatever, um, ask the questions. Why am I taking this medication? Is there something else I can do? What if I try doing this for, 2 or 3 weeks? Can I try that first before I go on a medication? Just ask them questions, and, they're there to help you, and it's just I think enough people don't ask questions and they just wanna be told what to do, that they get conditioned to just
Mhm.
say, "Here, do this," and then you're done, So don't be afraid to ask questions and educate yourself as much as you can.
I think that's fantastic advice. Part of me also thinks that we should just create like a personal and history PowerPoint that we send to the doctors beforehand. We're like, this is what happened here. This is how many drinks a week I drink, like answer all the questions in advance and pre-send it like they have time to read it. But
Right.
just that
Right.
idea of
But if you
giving them the
understand,
journey.
your history and they tell you to do something and you're like, "But I have this history." I can't tell you how many times you go to the OBGYN and they prescribe birth control. And then you're like, but I don't have anything. I have no symptoms. I have nothing wrong and I'm not trying to not get pregnant. So why would you give this to me? Like, you just have to ask the question. And what are the side effects?
Yeah.
And do I have any
Yeah.
contraindications? Like there's just all these things. The more you understand about your history, of should you be on a medication, the more you can just, get your questions out there and have that great relationship with your physician. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's such good advice. And I wish younger me asked a lot of those questions. I feel like it wasn't until trying to get pregnant and then having a baby that I was like, but what, wait, why do you want me back on birth control the second I have a kid at 6 weeks? Like, No, I don't want that. I'm
It would
breastfeeding.
be good to know why, It's like, I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. Know the why. Know the why of
Neither why.
everything you put in your body. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. Well, Melissa, it was a delight talking to you, learning from you, hearing your story. And thank you so much for being today's guest on the Second Degree podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And listeners, make sure to go follow her at Reforming You. Check out her website, read the blogs, learn all of the things that Melissa has to offer. She is an incredible resource for all. Have a wonderful day, everyone.